Random HR.
I see my name in shining lights, yeah, a different city every night. Oh, I swear the world better prepare for when I'm a billionaire.
It's time to get down to business on the weekend's #1 business program. Known as the King of Networking, your host, Shalom Klein, has worked with thousands of entrepreneurs and created countless jobs. So, to success. Let's get down to business.
And indeed, we are all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You're listening to Get Down to Business, and I'm your host, Shalom Klein, back for a live show. First live show in quite a while. It's great to be back here in studio. Beautiful studio here in Elk Grove Village. We are powered by our good friends at Tandem HR, your solutions center. You can call them at 630-928-0510 or visit their website, tandemhr.com. You can also call in to the studio for your questions, comments, and we've got a great lineup of guests. So if you want to talk with them, you could call us here in studio, 312-642-5600, 312-642-5600. A fantastic lineup of interesting entrepreneurs, guests, people that you will want to meet. You don't want to miss a minute of it. It's a live show. You're listening to Get Down to Business. And my first guest is a pioneer in the field of applied neuroplasticity and created the world's first targeted neuroplasticity training program in 2007 at the request of the United States Marines. And thousands of people, from high performers to those struggling with brain disorders, have benefited from his program. So without further ado, I'm thrilled to be joined here in studio by the one and only John Kennedy. Welcome, John, to the program.
Hi, Shalom. Thanks. I'm excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. So neuroplasticity is something that certainly when you Google, it's something that you frankly can't stop reading about because it is so fascinating. But to the average listener of those words, they are probably wondering, what in the world is that? So let's start with the basics. Let's start with who you are and how you got into the field. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. So again, John Kennedy. So my background actually had nothing to do with the brain. I was a process reengineering consultant, worked for a lot of large companies, making them more efficient. It was my brother who came back in 2006 in the Army, thank you for your service, and said, IEDs, improvised explosive devices, are killing us. Can you help? And so neuroplasticity is this amazing capability of our brains to change from everything we do and everything we think is changing our brains. The application part comes from applying my process reengineering methodologies to the brain. Was able to convince a Marine general to give me a chance. Marines gave my contract, and from then on, it's just been amazing the things we've been able to achieve by targeting the critical mental processes of executive function.
That's fascinating. And I know I mentioned in your bio that you're working with the full range of people. Obviously, yes, the program was initiated likely because of your brother and his service in the Marines, but from, call it, high performers to really anybody. And so tell us a little bit about the solution, if you will, and what the program is all about.
Sure. And one way that I help people think about this is picture a computer. So if you have a computer, you have all different kinds of applications. You have your accounting, you have your games, you have your word processor, your browser. They're all very different. You can upgrade each one of those individually. But the best way to improve the performance of your computer is just get a new one, right? Because the processor is faster. So our program using analog, non-digital, because the digital training programs, despite what they say, don't make real-world benefits. We use analog exercises engaging all parts of your brain, targeting executive function, which we make your processor, your mental processor, faster and more focused, which means that a professional athlete, a kid with learning disabilities, someone coming back from stroke damage, they can all improve their performance because the processor is faster.
I was concerned for a second there, John, that you were going to say that if things aren't working properly, you have to order a new brain. I was slightly concerned about that. So many of our listeners are entrepreneurs, people, business owners. How does this affect them? What's the bottom line?
Well, you know, it's interesting you mention entrepreneurs. I speak at a lot of conferences on entrepreneurs, and they always relate immediately to the Marines' motto, which is improvise, adapt, and overcome, right? I mean, that's what entrepreneurs have to do all the time. Information's always coming in. They have to be able to relate to it. They have to process it. They have to execute on it. And so for entrepreneurs especially, it's very, very powerful. The exercises we do, actually, we train you how to use the exercises, but it's really a training rather than a teaching program. And then people can use those exercises on their own. Run through one. It's a very fast neuroprimer they can run through before calls, before meetings, before whatever they have to do, and it will engage their brain to be faster for what's coming next.
Everybody's busy. Everybody has so many things, and it's hard to make an investment in a program that will help you be more productive and be more successful at the when it might compromise your busy schedule. What case can you make to the business owner that might be listening now and that knows that they can benefit from this program but doesn't know how they can afford it, either time or resources?
Well, it's interesting you mentioned. Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 8 hours to chop down a tree, I'd spend 6 sharpening my axe, right? And so that's what this program does. The beauty of it is our brains change so incredibly fast with this type of stimulation. Our neuroscientists are telling us that they can actually start to change immediately, and the changes solidify in as little as 20 minutes. So very, very fast changes in the brain in terms of mental efficiency, mental agility, and so forth. So it's definitely worth 5 to 10 minutes a day or even a minute before something that's happening, and it makes everything else go much faster.
So it's that simple.
Yes.
It's not a massive investment of that time. It's small incremental steps.
Very small incremental steps, but the changes happen extremely fast. And the cool thing is if you do them with someone else, we do it in groups and teams, sales teams, military teams, and so forth. It also improves emotional intelligence and engagement. So it's a very, very empowering experience. At the same time, you're making your brain more efficient.
Well, I'm talking with John Kennedy, the founder and really the brains behind this fantastic neuroplasticity program that can benefit so many entrepreneurs, regardless of the size of your business, regardless of what level of business owner, entrepreneur, or really any type of professional that's out there. But John, you've been talking a little bit about how you work in groups, and I know that all over your website you talk about the many groups, associations, businesses, and educational institutions. We were just talking about that before we came on the air, about all the groups that you've spoken to. Let's talk a little bit about that. What's the ideal size of a group that you can come into, and what kind of talks have you done in the past?
Well, the talks are always about how the brain works, but then we always include one of our exercises. That's what makes it unique. So everybody experiences it. I've worked with small groups, small teams. One of your guests coming up later runs a phenomenal organization to help people get jobs. So I've spoken to his organization of several hundred people. The size of the group doesn't matter. It's the exercises. And our goal really is, as one of our neuroscientists said, we want to get people into flow state, right? Athletes call it flow state, but we call it being in the zone. And we optimize System 1, which is fast and unconscious, and System 2, slow and conscious, thinking together. Amazing things happen. You're aware of what's happening. It's just happening so fast. It's just happening.
Oh, that's awesome. And I have no doubt that our guests that our listeners are fascinated by this, and everybody will want to learn more. But believe it or not, we are running out of time, and I do want to make sure that people know where they can learn more about the process and, most importantly, get in touch with you.
Well, the best way is my website, which is combatbraintraining.com. Don't forget the brain. I don't teach combat. I can help you in combat, mixed martial artists and military. But
I was getting excited over here. I thought we were going to do some hand-to-hand combat.
No, it makes your brain faster for that. So combatbraintraining.com. There's a contact us sheet there. Make sure they mention the show. They can also just email me at john@combatbraintraining.com.
Combatbraintraining.com. That's the place where people can learn more about this fantastic and fascinating solution. Again, that works for individuals of really any level, as well as groups. And if you have a group, if you are involved in a business and you want to bring out a fascinating guest speaker, hey, I can't encourage you strongly enough to get in touch with John Kennedy. Again, let's share that website one more time for our listeners.
So it's www.combatbraintraining.com.
combatbraintraining.com. Fantastic and fascinating. Thank you, John Kennedy,
Thanks,
for
Shalom.
joining me here on the air.
Appreciate it.
Coming up, you gave the best intro for me. I'm going to be joined by Marty Gilbert, who I have heard about for such a long time and who helps so many people. We'll be talking about jobs. We'll be talking about business. We'll be talking about a lot of that. You are listening to the show all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. You're listening to Get Down to Business. I'm your host, Shalom Klein. I'm thrilled to be joined back here in studio, live show, first live show in quite a while as I've been off serving in the military. You can tune in every Sunday here on AM 560 The Answer at 6 p.m. We're powered by our good friends at Tandem HR. They are your solution center. You can find them online, tandemhr.com, or give them a call, 630-928-0510. And we have a fantastic library of the hundreds of guests that we have had here on the air on Get Down to Business up on my website, shalomklein.com. You don't want to miss a minute of it. And do your friends and business partners a favor. Share the link, shalomklein.com, and follow me on Facebook and Twitter at Shalom Klein. That's where you can find out all about the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. And also, coming up later on the show, I've got Tom Arabali, insurance expert, a great resource for small business owners. Don't touch that dollar, Chicago. You'll be listening to Get Down to Business.